Good morning. I invite you to take your seats. Welcome to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield. I am Martha Easter Wells, and I've been a member here for a year and a half. UUFN is an inclusive community that nurtures spiritual and intellectual growth and fosters ethical and social responsibility. I want to welcome everyone here today and everyone gathered online. We are mindful that we gather today with different needs. Whatever brings you here, you are invited to come as you are and take what feeds you. If you are a visitor, either in person or online, we are glad you are with us, and we invite you to stay after the service to get acquainted. We welcome your questions and look forward to getting to know you. We have a few announcements before we begin our service. Check out the QR code in your order of service for a link to program opportunities this winter. If you don't know how to scan a QR code, ask for help after the service and we can figure it out together, or watch for an email this week. If you're on Zoom, note that an order of service PDF is attached to the weekly email each week. Sarah will also put the link to the programming handout in chat. Next Sunday, join us for Finding Our Center with our own Reverend Sarah Smalley. Universalists are often asked to tell where they stand, Lewis Fisher wrote. The only true answer to give to this question is that we do not stand at all, we move. If we are always moving, how do we find our center? Join Reverend Sarah and Worship Associate Mary Jane Lipinski for an update on the changes to the 7 principles and an exploration of what is at the heart of our community and our faith. Again, welcome.
I was wanting someone to talk to, needing to let myself out, knowing beyond a doubt the past is behind me. There was nowhere but here to walk to, letting the time go by, trying to see if I could ever find me. It didn't seem to make much sense, thinking about the dent I made in the world to date. Was I too late, you say? Should I create today or let it be? Now, needing a hand to cling to, lucky I was to find someone of similar mind to stand behind me, not letting dazzlement bind me, showing me where to find me, willing to just be kind, oh, and stand behind me. Not letting dazzlement bind me, showing me where to find me, willing to just be kind, oh, oh, and stand behind me, oh, stand behind me. so stand behind me.
Our opening words are an excerpt from The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame, and unafraid the new dawn balloons as we free it. For there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Come, let us worship together. The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Each Sunday when we gather, we bring this symbol to life together. Its flame illuminates this moment, calling our attention to the path of hope and justice. Please join me in speaking the words in your order of service and on the screens as we light the chalice, the symbol of our faith. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together Meditation on Breathing, which is in the Teal Hymnal, number 1009, and as shown on the screens, and we will sing it through 2 times. We now move into a time of centering, using the chalice flame to light our candles of compassion. Each week we gather, we share the sorrows and celebrations of this community. We begin by lighting a candle in honor of our prayers and hopes for the wider world. We light a candle for Ukraine to show our support for peace in their region. Working for a more harmonious, just, and merciful world requires an active commitment to the fullness of life for our neighbors around the world, no matter where they are. We know too that the details of our daily lives are sacred and important. We now light a candle for all the simple joys that are sustaining us. And we light another candle in honor of the sorrows and hardships we might be carrying. We light one more candle in honor of the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts that have not been spoken aloud. With these candles of compassion illuminating this moment, I invite you to take a few unhurried breaths, to relax your shoulders and soften your gaze, or close your eyes as we enter into a time of shared silence. We now expand our perspective to reach out to the wider world. We will now take our morning offering. This month's Share the Plate recipient is a light. A light works closely with refugees, trafficked persons, and economic migrants, 3.5 million people across the globe. UUFN has a special connection with a light. 4 of those 3.5 million people that Alight helps are a Ukrainian refugee family who is arriving in St. Paul. UUFN member Connie Wursell-Lavelle has been working on designing and furnishing a 2-bedroom apartment for them, filled with care and beautiful thrift shop finds to express our UUFN principles of being a part of the web of life. Mary Dorr also donated a bookcase for the cause. You can see the apartment in the Pioneer Press newspaper. Today, we all can contribute financially as we are able. You may contribute by putting cash or a check made out to UUFN with offering basket on the memo line in the basket. Or you may contribute by getting out your phone and going to our website, uunorthfield.org, clicking on the yellow donate button on the right-hand column, and then selecting Share the Plate. As always, thank you for giving as you are able.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Snyder-Thieding, and I have been a member of this UUFN community for several years now. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share with you this morning. We braved the belly of the beast, and we've learned that quiet isn't always peace. 22-year-old Amanda Gorman recited these words in her poem, The Hill We Climb, at the inauguration of Joe Biden on January 20, 2021. This brave young lady delivered a strong and powerful message of love and light to the leaders of our nation, its citizens, and the world. In an interview, she said, "My hope is that my poem will represent a moment of unity for our community. And with my words, I'll be able to speak to a new chapter and era for our nation." As I watched Amanda recite her amazing poem that day, I was inspired by the strength and confidence in her demeanor. She radiated genuine enthusiasm for our nation's future path in her sunny yellow coat and her flame red headband. She acknowledged the harsh deeds of this nation's past beyond a focus of shame or blame. She used her platform to remind us of our greatness when we come together, when we are inspired to do the work of healing, rebuilding, and moving forward. We are not destined to repeat the patterns of the past, but called to create a country that is benevolent, bold, fierce, and free. Amanda invited every one of us to step into our empowerment and to use our free will to become a light unto this world. When she had finished her poem, I felt excited for what is to come and that everything was going to be okay. I've not always felt this way. I grew up in the 1960s, and my parents loved local, national, and world news. The exciting new technologies of the day allowed us to stay informed of the latest developments around the world. And it was provided to us for free, thanks to reliable news networks. Watching a commercial or three seemed like a fair trade for all of this valuable news content. We had a small black and white television, complete with rabbit ear antenna and snowy reception. As a family, we would eat dinner and then watch Walter Cronkite deliver the latest news reports in his serious and stern tone. The Vietnam War, civil rights protests, Cuban Missile Crisis, and the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert, and Martin Luther King were all delivered with Walter's confident assurance, and that's the way it is. I remember tuning in with my family to the many anti-war protests, labor strikes, women's liberation, gay rights, and American Indian movements that pushed against social norms and demanded equality and new identity justice. The newscast videos of these events exposed us to the raw passion of human emotions: frustration, anger, outrage, fear, and grief. I witnessed the violence of human conflicts play out every day right in my home living room, often served with after-dinner dessert. These events soon dominated my parents' dinner conversation, and then they became subjects of study at school. The popular music we listened to rallied for resistance and revolution. As a young person, I started to wonder, where is all this violence coming from? And what does it mean? More importantly, how do we make it stop? Who's responsible to fix this? I asked questions of my parents, grandparents, friends, and teachers, but nobody had solutions to these problems. They were feeling helpless and afraid as well. My parents searched for a church that would help us cope with our anxieties about the future. They enrolled my sisters and I in several different Sunday schools as a result. I enjoyed Sunday school. I learned the importance of being respectful and kind. I was taught to forgive those who hurt me and to treat others as I would like to be treated. These teachings felt true and good. Yet they were unsatisfying since I didn't see these behaviors consistently demonstrated by any of the grown-ups I knew. My sensitivities to conflict and violence overwhelmed me, and eventually I retreated from the world. I felt helpless to control my environment. My heart hurt and I was sad, so I chose to become quiet, introverted, and shy. I installed a huge protective shield over my heart. Several years ago, I experienced a series of life events that caused my heart to become constricted. There was nowhere outside of myself to go with this pain, so I closed my eyes and I asked my heart what it needed. And I received an answer. Be love. Create a new way of being in this world and be love. In that moment, I connected with my true self. I realized that I had dimmed my beautiful light, and it wasn't serving me or anyone around me. I'm 61 now, and I am intentionally limiting my exposure to news networks and social media content. I find it helpful to my spirit to be discerning about the volume and type of news and information I take in, understanding that there are many wonderful stories and events that are not featured on the usual news networks. It was helpful for me to return to the center of my heart and rekindle my spark within. I felt empowered and inspired to connect with people who are open, honest, and kind, who like to laugh and dream and create a new world of peace and harmony together. Why do I share my story with you this morning? I want you to know that I found no peace when I chose to live small. And yes, it was my choice. I did not understand the power and responsibility of my choices when I was a child, but I do now. I'm committed to doing all that I can to keep my heart open and radiate my light. Every one of us is a light unto this world, if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. I want to share my lovely banner. There we go. Several years ago, I found this lovely wall hanging in a gift shop in Mankato. I was attracted to the simplicity and the flow of the message. For those of you on Zoom and in the back of the sanctuary, it reads, "If there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. If there's beauty in the person, there's harmony in the home. If there's harmony in the home, there's order in the nation. If there's order in the nation, there's peace in the world." Let us take a moment to enjoy the song Chinese Proverb, performed by Sweet Honey in the Rock.
Where there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. Where there is beauty in the person, there is harmony in the home. Where there is harmony in the home, there is honor in the nation. Where there is honor in the nation, there is peace in the world. Where there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. Where there is beauty in the person, there is harmony in the home. Where there is harmony in the home, there is honor in the nation. Where there is honor in the nation, there is peace in the world.
This Chinese proverb is a simplified interpretation of the Great Learning, which was one of the 4 books in Confucianism. It became a required textbook in schools and a required reading for imperial examinations. Confucius was a teacher, politician, and philosopher of the spring and autumn period of Chinese history 2,500 years ago, and he championed strong family loyalty, respect of elders by their children, and of husbands by their wives. He also recommended family as a basis for ideal government. He espoused the well-known principle, do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself, an early version of the Golden Rule. Here is an English translation of the Great Learning. The ancients who wished to illustrate an illustrious virtue throughout the kingdom first ordered well their states. Wishing to order well their states, they first regulated their families. Wishing to regulate their families, they first cultivated their persons. Wishing to cultivate their persons, they first rectified their hearts. Wishing to rectify their hearts, they first sought to be sincere in their thoughts. Wishing to be sincere in their thoughts, they first extended the utmost their knowledge. Such extension of knowledge lay in the investigation of things. Things being investigated, knowledge becomes complete. Their knowledge being complete, their thoughts were sincere. Their thoughts being sincere, their hearts were then rectified. Their hearts being rectified, their persons were cultivated. Their persons being cultivated, their families were regulated. Their families being regulated, their states were rightly governed. Their states being rightly governed, the whole kingdom was made tranquil and happy. From the Son of Heaven down to the mass of the people, all must consider the cultivation of the person, the root of everything. Besides, it cannot be, when the root is neglected, that what should spring of it will be well ordered. It has never been the case that what was of great importance has been slightly cared for, and at the same time, that what was of slight importance has been greatly cared for. In his teachings, Confucius criticized violence as a disruption of the proper harmony in self, society, and nature. The use of violence in word or deed is a sign that a man is not right with himself, and he cannot lead properly in either familial or political relations. He held that oppressing people or neglecting one's duties is also a form of violence against the harmony of the social order. Using instead the moral force of goodness to inspire the common people by example. It's important to note that in the time of Confucius, the social order was feudalism. Monarchs of imperial families ruled the territories. It was a patriarchal society as well. Women were assigned to handle the domestic affairs, such as nurturing the children, cooking, weaving, and other household work. Men, on the other hand, managed public and social affairs, such as farming, commerce, and holding government office. In those days, Confucius developed the idea that society is based on relationships, and that individuals must understand their place and selflessly submit themselves to the established authority. How are we feeling about this proverb now? I really like this proverb. I sense that the great learning is constantly being reimagined and repurposed to inspire new generations of leaders, individuals who are eager to learn and willing to investigate things, and asking lots of questions, and open to receiving answers from many different perspectives. Empowered individuals are responding to problems and inviting others to participate in the process of finding solutions. The people who have the solutions to problems are not in politics and government. These folks are using their imaginations, inspiration, talents, tools, and technologies to create new things every day. When a system of government becomes restrictive, disruptive, and dysfunctional, it no longer serves the needs of the people. In this age of global network connection, what needs to shift? It's time to come together, to heal our hearts, set our roots, and shine our collective light in all directions. Let us choose to create new conduits of connection in our community, our nation, and the world.
Bring me back to center. Bring me back to flow. Now my soul surrenders. Peace is all I know.
Bring me back to center. Bring me back to flow. Now my soul surrenders. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am whole. Peace is all I know. Bring me back to knowing. Peace is letting go. Love is overflowing. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am whole. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am whole. Peace is all I know. In this moment
The closing words, again, are an excerpt from The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. Yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. As we prepare for our closing hymn, you may place your hands over your heart, reach out to hold the hand of the people next to you, or whatever is comfortable for you. Let us join together in singing our closing hymn, Spirit of Life, the words shown on the screens. Please join me as we extinguish our chalice as printed in your order of service and printed on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace.
Absolutely beautiful service. You did so well.
I just delivered it. She read it.
Making sure we're muted in the sanctuary. I always want to talk for a second before to make sure Paul turns us off in the sanctuary. Hi all, that was so beautiful. I think we can talk freely now. I think we're off in the sanctuary.
Okay. Okay.
I just trust
That's
Paul.
beautiful.
Anybody who likes can unmute themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was beautiful service.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, from the personal to the universal in such a poignant way. Oh,
And I can just
Sharon.
listen to Sharon's voice forever too. Like it's just so like true and
Yeah.
strong but soft. I don't know.
Yes,
Mhm,
yes,
Your thoughts? Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
beautiful.
Wow. So do we want to break into a couple of groups or stay together here? We got what, 10 people or so?
I think groups.
Yeah.
I think we're good. I will need to log off here in a moment. to get ready for the board meeting and put my foot up a little bit before then. So it is nice to have this extra, 15 minutes or so to put my
Well,
foot up.
Yes,
before.
Okay.
that's good. That's good. Well, we'll see you
Yeah.
later then,
Yeah.
Sarah.
I mean, I couldn't not at least
Good to see you, Sarah.
know and
Yes.
hear
Yes.
how,
Okay,
Mhm.
bye-bye.
all right. Thanks
Okay.
all. Take care.
Sure. Bye.